Ani Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation members, my name is Cathie Jamieson in Miigwech. It has been an honor to serve as one of your elected councillors for our nation. I am Pillar 3 Lead of Environment Sustainability, and I also serve as political role in areas identified by the council portfolio, noting that the MCFN Chief and Council are continuously working into the transition of the strategic plan and the interconnection of the pillar in the Trailblazer document. I'll be reading as such some of the activity in the annual report for the fiscal year of 2019-2020, and which some of these files will continue on into the 2020-2021 fiscal year. As Pillar 3 Lead, I am also the co-chair to the Land, Water, Sustainability and Prosperity Council. This is a full council meeting that meets on the third Tuesday of every month and outlines any political matters arising, which would include items from Pillar 1, Prosperity and Economics, and Pillar 3, Environment Sustainability. Also within my role in the 2019-2020 fiscal year, I was attending Chiefs of Ontario and Assembly of First Nations sessions regarding environment and any and all updates regarding the Chiefs Committee on Environment forums, water protection forums, food sovereignty forums, sustainable resources forums, and climate change effects gatherings. Also the Indigenous inclusion by participating on the review of policy and legislation, existing or proposed changes by Canada or Ontario. My role was also to attend these various environmental organization meetings or events for causes that reflected on the federal and provincial legislation and policies that impacted on human rights, on the First Nations inherent rights, and the rights of the environment. The goal was to raise a concern to the process and the caution on the impacts that this has on all parties. Also under my portfolio, I am the co-chair to the Mississaugas of the Credit Employment and Training Board. These meetings outline matters arising and updates from the local delivery mechanism, the coordinator, which provides MCFN Chief and Council, the board, with updates on funding for employment and training programs and the new programs which are introduced, and such when requests are received that requires further funding in a financial level on applications. Accompanying that, I am the vice chair to the Aboriginal Labour Force Development Circle. The ALFDC is a flow-through organization to provide funding to MCFN for employment and training. ALFDC deals with Indigenous skills employment and training federal agreements and how the First Nation is distributed with these local delivery mechanisms. The Indigenous Skills Employment and Training Service Agreement, also known as ISETs, is an ongoing process of a 10-year funding, agreements of program delivery and operations. Also under portfolio for the Pillar 3, I'm the chair of the Land Claims Committee. Also on this Land Claims Committee is the councillor under Pillar 7 for governance. The MCFN Land Claim Committee outlines the ongoing claims of submission process, and the committee also reviews in discussion the MCFN history, claims, research, and information, and the process of how to resolve the asserted claims of Canada. Also to review the potential projects that are shared to the Land Claims Committee that may affect or may bring opportunity to MCFN claims, waters, or there within the 3.9 million acres of treaty land and territory. The claims of which ongoing and in discussion of submission is the Rouge River Valley, the Treaty 22, Treaty 23, and Aboriginal Title to Water claim. The Land Claim Committee consists of Pillar 3 and Pillar 7 councillors, the Land Research Membership Director, Claims Legal Lawyer, and the Governance Coordinator. The committee provides updates on claims process, provides recommendations to Chief and Council, and seeks further direction for the resolution of the claims. Some of the external appointments regarding the environment. Under Pillar 3, I am on the Lake Erie Source Protection Committee. This reviews infrastructure and the capacity to have safety measures required for safe drinking waters. The committee reviews existing and proposed growth municipal plans, developments, impacts, and risks on source drinking water. Quarterly meetings provide updates, and at these meetings they're held at the Grand River Conservation Authority. Projects on parks and trails. The involvement of Pillar 3 is also to review or discuss the environmental impacts on these projects, of which come through the notification process reviewed by the Department of Consultation and Accommodation and or such other coordination within the units of culture and events. After consultation and accommodation is reached and require environmental advisory follow-up, the projects are reviewed by the working group and or the traditional knowledge keeper and historian, the culture and events unit, in connections for further resources, the Pillar 5 Councillor in the committee that is for outreach and connection for these initiatives, the Land Claims Committee for impact to the parcels of land and any and all potential acquisitions of land, and finally to provide any recommendations and updates to Chief and Council. Also within under Pillar 3 is the Waterfront Toronto revitalization work. Mississaugas of the Credit entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Waterfront Toronto on the existing of their waterfront revitalization projects, and we signed this memorandum of understanding in February 2020, which outlines a relationship to the Waterfront Toronto in that MCFN is involved as environmental stewards, and a promotion and recognition of MCFN rights, histories, cultures, and tradition, and supports the interest that MCFN has in economic participation. The vision of Waterfront Toronto is a continuation of stewardship and the vital public interest and investments to deliver urban infrastructure and the needed flood protection, while creating new opportunities for the special projects along the waterfront, parks, and gathering spaces. Transformation of the past industrial sites into thriving, environmentally conscious, and sustainable neighborhoods that supports economic vitality and enhanced quality of life. In my role, I am acting chair of the MCFN Task Force team. It's an internal working group connected to the Waterfront Toronto Revitalization Project. In this MCFN Task Force team, it consists of myself and Pillar 1 Councillor, the Department of Consultation and Accommodation Director, the Director of Sustainable Economic Development, and Legal Counsel. And as outlined by the MOU agreement, the MCFN Task Force and the Waterfront Toronto team meet quarterly to review the entire scope of the revitalization project, while joining together on subcommittees that meet bi-weekly on special project areas. I want to also extend that within the environment sustainability pillar, there is a need for capacity and expertise is required to enhance the overall ways in which MCFN can participate and contribute to the nation for all environmental matters and those which will arise. The next step for Pillar 3 and for MCFN is the organizational growth and to outline and develop the environmental framework for the strategic plan and for environmental capacity growth. Also, to engage with the membership to be fully inclusive of the scope of perspective MCFN wants to take in regards to the environment, the lands, the water, the air, and natural resources. The point of land, waters, air, and natural resources is an area of importance, and it factors into the impact of the accumulation effects within climate change. Pillar 3 continues to work alongside all the pillars and projects that impact and enhance the scope of the environment. The role of the environment is also supported by the role of the governance work that is being developed by the nation. A process to review the policy, laws, and legislation that impacts the First Nation, also while promoting the laws of which are created by the First Nation for environmental advocacy and stewardship. This is just a brief summary of the annual report and the continuation of work that will be ongoing for Pillar 3. Thank you for listening to my update.